Hey, what's up guys? Billy Martin here, back with another video tutorial. So thank you guys for all the support so far on the channel. I really appreciate all the likes and comments, the views, everyone digging the beats and the tutorials. Thank you so much for supporting and let me do what I do for a living. If you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications so that you'll know when I have new videos coming out, and just to continue the support. So thanks, I really appreciate it. So today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. I'm not sure how much you guys know about DistroKid. It is a great platform for independent artists. The name says it all. It is a music distributor. It helps get your songs to Spotify, to iTunes, to Tidal, even Shazam. You know, if you're out somewhere and your song plays somewhere and someone wants to know who this artist is, your songs will actually be registered to Shazam. So it's a great opportunity to get your music out there and for people to discover you. The best part is with a lot of other platforms that do the same kind of thing, it takes a long time for your song to get uploaded and added. Within 24 to 48 hours using DistroKid, you could get your songs uploaded to all these platforms, which is a really great perk with them. Some of the other companies also use a per song payment system where you pay every time you upload, and when a song recycles over a year, or when a year passes, you have to pay up again. But with DistroKid, you pay $19.99 right up front and you get a whole year's worth of unlimited uploads. So it's a really good deal and it's really great for independent artists. So I teamed up with them and we came up with a little VIP package which gets you a discount off of your annual yearly subscription. So go to distrokid.com/VIP/Billy Martin. I'll put the link right here for you guys as well as in the description. And using my link, it will help you guys get 7% off of your year. And you'll be good to go rolling with new music uploaded. So I use the service myself and I highly recommend it. So any independent artists out there looking for a way to distribute your music, please click on the link and check out DistroKid. And shout out to them for teaming up with me and helping bring some support to my channel and to you guys with your new music. So that being said, let's get into a tutorial. Something I wanted to do today was maybe something a little different, a little something that I haven't seen a lot of. There's sort of a new up-and-coming genre of music that I've been really digging. It's called HyperPop. Probably a lot of you guys have heard of it. There's a couple great artists. Let's see, like Glaive, Quinn, Shinigami. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other. The Garden Avenue crew. That's some producers. Shout out to Brody, Curtains, Taylor Morgan. All these new artists that I've just been put onto in the last couple weeks. And man, it's got me on fire. It's got me really excited about music, about production. I think as a lot of producers, we get bored or we get stale just making the same kind of beats. And yeah, I've been making trap beats and trying to find a way to bring my guitar into it, and you know, the sort of emo trap sound that's really popular, and I love it. And it's been really exciting for me to find something different outside of good charli and rock music that people know me for to get into. But I feel like I kept making the same beats over and over, and I needed to shake it up a little bit. And this sort of hyperpop movement has really got me excited. Hard to explain the style. I feel like it's a really over-the-top pop production style. It can really blend so many different styles. You could pick any kind of an element and add it to pop and really just push all the cliches of that style of music. And that's kind of what I guess hyperpop is. So if you go to my profile here on YouTube, you'll see the last handful of beats I've uploaded are all hyperpop influenced. I'll make sure to link them underneath in case you haven't checked them out. But you know, just doing something new and something different has really got me excited as far as just producing and making music. So I thought I would do some kind of a tutorial based around that, just to sort of show you guys where my head's at musically, and maybe it could inspire a couple of you guys. So something that I thought was really cool, which maybe not everybody thinks to do, and I also am guilty of not doing this, is thinking outside of the box, trying to just not throw down a guitar part that sounds like something you've done before and add the drums and keys and you're finished. Like, I wanted to focus on sound design, something unique, just doing something really cool and different. So with this next beat that I want to go through with you guys, I started with just a regular guitar riff. I was just, you know, playing around with something, and I came up with this sort of mid-tempo kind of rock riff. It reminded me of maybe Incubus or 311 or some kind of like a, you know, funky rap rock kind of band. And I liked the riff and I thought, okay, this is cool. So, you know, I dropped the guitar riff in and I started building a loop around it. But immediately I felt like, okay, I've made this beat 10 times already. I've already done so many beats like this. Like, what could I do differently? So I started adding some effects to the guitar. I sped it up a lot, like the tempo change was a huge difference. I changed the pitch a little bit, and I started just to throw all these plugins on and try things and try. I was just really experimenting with this riff. And next thing you know, I had this really like up tempo. It sounded like an arpeggiator, like something I would have made out of with a synth. And just that guitar loop with all this stuff added on it immediately sounded like, oh, I could make a really crazy HyperPop song with this. And this was actually the first time I'm tried making a track like this, but it was just really cool and refreshing and exciting because I hadn't made a beat like this before, especially starting with a guitar and pretty much ending with something that you would just assume was made on a keyboard. So I'm gonna go through this beat with you guys today. I'm gonna show you the guitar riff, just how I originally wrote it, at the tempo I wrote it, and then I'm gonna add each effect on one at a time and kind of show you how I got from the guitar riff all the way to the finished sound. I'll preview a couple other of the tracks within the final beat just so you could hear sort of how it all sounds together in context and how the beat came together. But what my real focus today is coming up with cool, new, unique, maybe unorthodox ways of taking your guitar and making a loop out of it and making a beat. So, you know, I know a lot of you guys are loop makers. Like me, I like to make beats. I like to make loops as well. Like collabing with other producers and sending out loops has been a really awesome way for me to get my foot in the door. But, you know, if you're sending out the same kind of loops that every other producer is sending out, you're going to get overlooked. You want to make those cool, unique loops to stand out where people hear those loops and think, oh man, like I've got to use this. So I thought this would be a cool tutorial on just finding that cool new sound in your loops. So with that, let's get into it and we'll check out how I made the sound. All right, so let's go ahead and start with this guitar riff. I'm going to play it for you guys with all the effects turned off at the original tempo that I wrote the guitar riff. You can hear what it sounded like. Pretty basic guitar riff, like I said, just like a regular kind of rock guitar riff or something like that. And I started to build a beat around this riff, but I just felt like it was too just cookie cutter, boring, plain. I've done it before, and I thought I should change this up a little bit. So the first thing I did was to put on Thermal, which is a new distortion saturation plugin from Output. It's like one of my favorite companies. Everything they put out is just amazing. So I started with this Reanimator preset, and I got this. Already, like right away, it's more exciting. It's got a cool sort of lo-fi bit crush kind of sound to it. There's some phasing, some panning just naturally within the effect. So as soon as I heard that sort of like bit crush sound, that sort of, you know, 8-bit video game kind of distortion vibe, I thought, ooh, could I make some kind of a hyperpop track out of this? So what I did was I went with Shaperbox here, another plugin that I really, really like. Shaperbox is awesome for taking any kind of sound you have and just altering it to sound like nothing else. You could do like rhythmic filters, you could put lo-fi effects, you could have pitch effects, all kinds of stuff. So I went through a bunch of presets and I found this one here that gave a really cool sort of like rhythmic stuttering kind of effect, and I moved the parameters around a little bit until it gave me the rhythm that I wanted, and this is what I got from it. It sounds really cool already, almost like not even reminiscent of that guitar part anymore. You could hardly even tell this is a guitar, I think. So from here, I thought that I would bump the BPM quite a bit. So I took it from 148 up to 176, which is a pretty up-tempo track. And then we get this. So the energy, the excitement already at this tempo, I was thinking like, okay, this sounds like it could be something really cool, especially if the beat itself was a little more halftime over top of like a really, you know, double time kind of fast riff like this. All right, next thing I did after that was brought up some RC20. I thought maybe I could give it a little more digital texture, just kind of mess with it. In fact, I used the digital texture preset for it. Pull the magnitude back a little bit. I usually do that with RC because it's such a strong effect. And usually I just wanted maybe like 60-70% of the effect. Mess around with the parameters down here, a little bit of EQ cuts until everything sounded right. And then we got something like this. got a little bit even more of that bit crush, lo-fi kind of sound. You can see in the EQ, I had to pull a little bit of the high ends out because you get that sort of ringy high end in the EQ when you put bit crushing on. And again, I'll bring up some EQ right here I put on, just the regular Ableton EQ. I took most of the low out and I still put a little bit more down on that high end. This already sounds like something out of like a fast-paced, you know, running app game or something like that. Next up, Wave Stereo Imager. Really pushed it wide because I knew I'd want a lot of subs and heavy kick and stuff in the middle, so I wanted to make sure this had a very like wide arpeggiated sound to it. And then I added a little reverb. If you've seen any of my other tutorials, you all know how much I love this round reverb plugin from Native Instruments. Again, I knew that there would be a lot of sub bass in the middle, and I wanted this to really fill the width and the sort of mid to high range, so I put just a little bit of subtle reverb on it to really kind of fill it up a little bit. And then this plugin here is when everything came together for me. I put the Effectrix. Some of you may be familiar with Effectrix. It's another really great plugin that has a ton of things that you can do to like heavily affect your sound. There's a lot of cool preset rhythms and sounds in there. I love this beat gator. It's kind of like a tremolo effect. You can, you know, turn the master up and down to get a really hard stutter or just, you know, something subtle. I cranked this all the way up because I wanted this to feel like an arpeggiator, and this is when the sound really came alive for me. Oop. Sorry, I gotta move my cursor up to where the guitar starts. So you can hear it really sounds like an arpeggiator now, like a keyboard. I'm gonna turn it on and off just so you can really hear how cool this sounds. So without it. So you're getting that rhythm now from the Shaperbox plugin, but it's a little jumpy and not so like musical or rhythmic. So when you put Effectrix on, it really nails the rhythm. So I was really happy with this. It felt very like stiff, so I thought maybe like a little bit of delay might help bounce the sound a little bit. So I went with this replica. Native Instruments delay. Open this one up. So quarter note delay. Not too strong on the mix or the feedback, just something to help bounce it around. I'll turn the delay on and off so you can hear the subtle difference. So here's without it. And now back on. So this is really how the song started, was with this guitar loop turning into this. And once I got to here, I was really excited to build the track around it and see where I could go. So hopefully this gives you guys a pretty, you know, unique way to take a guitar loop and completely flip it until it's something different. So I'm going to show you what the rest of the track sounds like, just so you guys can hear it in context. All right, I'll play this whole part with this on. Solo it out so you can hear it in context. It's definitely not like too powerful in the mix. It's definitely more of just something that I built the song around. You can hear how wide the guitar arpeggiator is in the mix versus all the heavy like low end stuff that's mono. And I layered this with this cool vocal sample that I found. It was like a J-pop, like Japanese pop vocal pack somewhere. So I chopped it up a little bit. It's sped up. You can see the original BPM on the sample is 140 and this is up at 176. So I have little altar boy on here with the robot function on it, with the pitch cranked all the way up just to give it a slightly more robotic feel. Again, I put thermal, the distortion plugin from Output on there. Let's see, this one, no plugins, just default on that, and I just cranked up a little bit of distortion on it just to give it some fuzz. I took out a lot of low end in the EQ and just a little bit of compressor. So without going too far in depth into this whole track, that kind of shows you where I was at with the guitar and how I was able to make keyboard sound out of it. Hopefully this was inspirational for you guys, helped you think a little bit differently about how you make your sounds and your sound design and your loops, and you could use some of this in your own production. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you learned something new. I know I really had a great time making this beat, and it's something that I plan to do a lot in the future, is to try to be a little bit more experimental with my sound design and come up with some cool, unique sounds. And yeah, I really hope that this was helpful to you guys. As always, thank you guys for the support. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribing, turning on notifications, giving me comments. Let me know what you think about my channel so I can keep going with all this. And I will see you guys for the next video. Thanks again.